Hello everybody, welcome back to my channel where skincare is all about progression over perfection because perfection doesn't exist. Although you can kind of fake it with like Facetune and Photoshop and all that kind of stuff, and that's what we're talking about today in today's kind of weird episode of Instagram versus reality. When I started this series, I wanted to do it because I wanted to kind of show the disingenuous kind of like skincare product results and how people fake cosmetic results and all that kind of stuff and enhance and trick us into believing the fake results are real. But I do feel it kind of stems beyond that. And my end goal is always just to kind of show the audience, us as, you know, average consumers, what is possible and what goes on when it comes to retouching within the media as well. So today I kind of want to take a look at more, I guess, some pop culture stories. I'm not really into celebrity culture, so I'm going to struggle with this one, but some stories and how using Photoshop has sprouted these kind of like wild kind of articles, viral articles, and how easy it is to convince us as an audience that something is actually real when it's not. Even some of the craziest stories. So let's get into it. I literally like never want to talk about this on my channel, but let's talk about that Chris Rock Will Smith Oscars slap. And it was a slap. It was like a slap. It opens up so many discussions in some cases, and rightfully so, but we're not going to touch on that. We're just going to talk on this viral article. And I'm talking about it now because there was like just too much going on at the time. It's all you could ever see on the internet. And now the hype has kind of died down. I want to kind of like take a look at some of the claims that were made regarding this being a publicity stunt. So let's look at the pictures here. We have two conspiracy theories about this. One, Chris Rock was actually wearing a patch on his face to cushion the smack. So basically stop the smack from actually hurting, meaning it was a publicity stunt. Conspiracy theory number two, that is kind of conjoined with one, but separate in some cases, is that Will Smith had a fake hand to smack Chris Rock with, so it didn't hurt him because this was a publicity stunt. Strange, you may think, because it's a strange thing. But according to several viral articles and originally the viral tweet, which I think has since been deleted, this is all true and there's evidence. There's high quality pictures from the night of the incident. So let's take a look. Here we can see what appears to be some kind of skin colored padding on Chris Rock's face. Almost looks like one of those chicken fillets, you know? We call them chicken fillets in the UK. They're kind of like padding for bras. We see a clear outline as to where the supposed patch is, and even some slight discoloration on a bit of the patch just above the eye, which kind of makes it look a little bit more real and like it's made out of some kind of material rather than skin. So let's take a look at Will Smith's fake hands. Well, there is no evidence other than this picture of his oddly stiff hand. It's just kind of like this, isn't it? So let's take a look at the evidence and pretty much debunk this immediately. Not the idea that it was staged, I truly don't care either way, but the fact that a pad and fake hands were used. So the fake hand, let's get out of the way, that's just a bitch slap hand. In fact, less than a second later, you can see his fingers are spread out in a completely different position. So he just kind of went like this, you know, solid smack. So no, you can see in the video his hand moves, it's not a fake hand. And people are saying this because it's just such an oddly stiff hand. Now, as for the face patch, the issue is when somebody does an internet hoax like this is that there is also 4K pictures and video of the actual event. So it's easy to immediately compare this Photoshop picture to what happened in real life. We won't be watching it because I don't want to see it again. We'll just look at the screenshot. Just before the smack shows a very different looking face to the Photoshop patch. And yes, it is photoshopped. As you can see, there is nothing. So what the editor of the viral patch picture has done, I'm guessing the person who originally tweeted this has done, is taken advantage of Chris Rock's natural lines in his face. So his laughter lines here, here, and then the kind of crease in his eye, and then also the natural highlight where the light's naturally falling. And honestly, it looks so easily and quickly done. There's a tool in Photoshop called the burn tool. It kind of adds a lot of contrast to wherever you're dragging this tool. Usually used a burn tool to darken and a dodge to lighten. So the burn tool, it looks like they really simply just drew the shape of a patch, making advantage of his natural creases, used that highlight above his eye, they kept it there to kind of make it look like a little bit more real, but they've also done what looks like a little bit of airbrushing to make it look a lot less like skin texture and more like a flat kind of plasticky silicone material. Super easy to do, very, very easy to go viral to. The next one, I always feel bad because I feel like I'm attacking them half the time, but I cannot do one of these videos without Kardashian Jenner situation popping up whilst I'm writing these videos. And the latest one is everyone accusing Kim Kardashian of photoshopping her boyfriend Pete Davidson's jawline. What would you do if your partner edited your faces in your pictures? You'd be really upset, wouldn't you? That they posted a version of you that they think is visually more attractive. Well, Kim Kardashian has been accused of doing this to her boyfriend Pete Davidson, as I mentioned. On her Instagram, she posted this really cute picture of them together. As a photography graduate, I actually really appreciate the composition of this shot. There's something about it that's a little bit like early, like Mario Testino. It's kind of like a bit like more rugged David LaChapelle. There's something to it that I really appreciate about this shot. I don't know what it is. Anyway, it's cute. It's a lovely picture. However, the Instagram profile Problematic Fame posted this on their stories, and it's a side-by-side profile of a supposed photoshopped versus reality Pete. And honestly, I don't think it's a great side-by-side. I think when you compare do a before and after or comparison pictures, you have to do the same face. Do you know what I mean? Like the same action. For example, when I take pictures, if you look at my jawline, like that, if I'm talking and I'm back like this, it's very different. Or if I'm talking to the side, it's like this. Do you know what I mean? Or if, like, this is how I naturally am. But if I was taking a picture, I do more like this. I make sure my jawline kind of like leveled up, you see. So doing like a before and after when someone is talking versus staying still, or actually moving their whole face forward to kiss and kind of like, you know, tightening all this bit, isn't a very fair comparison. He actually looks like he's laughing and projecting loudly, so your face is going to look different. So I did my own research. I basically Googled Pete Davidson's jawline. And here's the thing. Of course, we know the Kardashians edit their posts. They're infamous for it. But I feel like this is hard to tell, though. I feel like this is a little bit difficult because Pete Davidson has a very strong jawline. From the front, you can see he has very strong jaw bones. What are these bits called? Side bits. Very strong jawline. However, he does have this little bit of like double chin. It's not even fat. It's just that little bit. Well, mine is, but his is just that little bit of skin that a lot of people have attaching their chin to their neck, you know? But on this picture that Kim Kardashian posted, it doesn't quite look the same. It does look like it's being pushed up a little bit. However, because of his face and how he's stretching his face forward towards Kim, it could have just really stretched all that bit out. But here's what's difficult is usually within pictures that I think have been face tuned or photoshopped, what you do is you look for kind of broken pixels or curved pixels around the area that you think has been edited. So that's what, you know, like all the little dots, some will suddenly be like curving in, or they'd be longer, or the color would be different. You see a lot of red, green, blue, like little pixels around those areas, and even blurs. However, Kim's new aesthetic is kind of grainy. She does this thing where she adds a lot of noise, it's called, to the picture. And it's almost like this early 90s kind of disposable camera aesthetic. And what this does is it almost adds pixels back into the picture. So that does several things. First of all, you can completely smooth out your skin texture, and adding that grain, that film grain filter, it's sometimes called in editing apps, or noise on Photoshop, back into the picture, adds texture back into your skin. So it looks like you have real texture, but perfect skin. What this also does is adds texture and kind of like fake pixels back into those areas where you'd usually look for little clues that the picture's been retouched. So it's hard. I mean, I don't think anything crazy has been done here, to be honest. If she's done anything on Pete, it's just a little lift. And then even the nose, like, it doesn't look like he's got a little dip like I do. I get filler in here. So he's got like a tiny dip. But even from this kind of angle, you can still see it a little bit. And kind of candid pictures taken by the paparazzi and stuff kind of show the same kind of dip at this angle. So I don't know. I feel like we're just so used to being... By default, because it's Kim Kardashian, I would say that this picture has been photoshopped. But I would err on the side that this has been photoshopped a little bit, as far as Pete Davidson is concerned, but it's also hard to tell. I also wouldn't be surprised if it wasn't. It's so hard to tell in this case. But also, who cares? Sticking with Kim K, did Kim K Photoshop out her belly button in a recent Instagram stories for her brand Skims? As I mentioned, so many people immediately presume that any picture of Kim Kardashian in has been photoshopped. And rightfully so, they usually are. So yes, in an Instagram advert, because she posted it's her brand, it is an advert, she has financial interest. For Skims, she appears to have no belly button at all, according to followers. And honestly, whilst I think she's altered her body shape just a little bit, you can see that slight blurring around the waistline, I don't think she's photoshopped out her belly button. I think if you just use common sense, she's stretching, she's got her Skims pulled up really high, it's just covering her belly button. In fact, if you look carefully, you could just see the little dark circle where her belly button would be in that waistline of her Skims. I think it's annoying that maybe she's touching up her body here and there in an advert that claims what she's selling reshapes your body. What's more annoying, really, to me, is her response. In an Instagram stories post, she said, belly button insecurities? Well, why don't you head over to skims.com to conceal that saggy belly button of yours with a great pair of high-waisted underwear like I did. You're welcome. What this is telling me is she's like, look, I'm in great shape that my belly button doesn't sag down for some reason. But, you know, if you're fat, you're probably fat, and that's why you're confused about my belly button. That kind of, like, it's really childish. So then why does she need Skims? Skims is shapewear. It's a brand that kind of is supposed to kind of like curve you out. This has come from a founder of a brand who bases their whole ethos on being body positive. Yet she's using the term saggy belly as an insult, insinuating that they should buy her products to change the way they look for the better. From the way she posts about her body, she doesn't need her own products, if she's of course not retouching them like she says. What she's banking on is curvier people hoping that their body will look like hers if they wear Skims. Sticking with the Kardashian Jenners, Kendall Jenner has been kind of like all in the news. No, what, like gossip columns? I don't know what they call it anymore. About her new look. And in fact, for a promo for the new Disney Plus Kardashian series, her fans were saying that she looked quite different. And in her Instagram stories and Instagram posts, she looks very different as well. Long story short, she's clearly had some work done. Doesn't look like anything permanent. It's a little bit filler. I get filler in my chin. It looks like she's had done. It does look like she may have had that fox kind of like eye lift as well. Maybe a bit of cheek filler here and there. Her face does look very, very different. I don't care. I get filler on my nose, I get filler on my cheek. To me, she's not advertising anything cosmetic yet here and saying that her face looks different because of a cosmetic product, so it doesn't really bother me. Do I think that celebrities have to say when they've had work done, if they are advertising cosmetics that change the way you look, then yes, absolutely. If not, then no, I don't think so. It's not a surprise to me that one of the Kardashian Jenner people have had some filler here and there. These pictures in particular are very interesting to me. These kind of look like they've been done on apps like Snow or Soda, where you can physically change the appearance of your face, the point on your chin, how big or small your eyes are. You can see in this picture, for example, her skin texture on her face is completely different to the texture on her body, making me think that she's used an app like Face App, for example, and all it's done is done her face and she's just forgotten to Photoshop the rest of her body as far as skin texture goes. But yes, not surprising for me. She's had a bit of work done. I think she looks good. However, if she starts selling cosmetics, I'll be a bit like, you need to be honest about your filler if you're going to sell cosmetics that claim to make changes, not just makeup, but cosmetics that claim to make changes to the state of your face. Anyway, I hope you enjoyed this little bite-sized Instagram versus reality. Let me know if you want to see more of these in the future. You can watch the whole Instagram versus reality series here and some general light entertainment here, and I'll see you over there.